The Boat of Eternal Return by Stephanie Rayner.
Hi, I'm Jim Vander, Schaaf, and down East Woodard, and welcome to Cove Street Arts Gallery, where the Boat of Eternal Return is on display. Cove Street Arts is a high-end gallery in Portland, Maine, and it's one of the few, maybe the only one, that has the space available to house a boat of this size. It's owned by Kelly Lair and John Danos, and they've had this gallery for a number of years. Today I want to highlight different aspects of the boat's construction. There are a number of different materials used and a number of different techniques used to put it together. But first, who created this boat? Well, it was created by Stephanie Rayner, the artist, and she was helped by Paul Howard, a boat builder who sailed around the world with his family. Stephanie is a lifelong artist who has lectured worldwide on the connection between science and spirituality and art. Stephanie created a vessel that signifies a journey, not just a physical journey, but a spiritual one, passing between the worlds of the living and the dead. She used raw natural materials, including 13 sets of moose ribs, and she spent 14 years building this boat. Words are inadequate to describe it, so here's a preview.
"8 years ago, after seeing an enlarged picture of the boat in a Maine College of Art display, my mouth dropped open in astonishment and I could not speak for a while. So I asked the artist, 'Did you make it?' 'Yes,' she said. 'Where is this boat?' She said, 'Toronto, Canada.' I asked, 'Why isn't it here?' She mentioned the cost of transportation. I replied, 'I'm a ship delivery captain, and if you can get it to water, I will do the rest.' 1 year ago, she called and asked if I was willing to make good on my promise. I said I would. I found a suitable 52-foot sailboat, but then found out that the boat was in several large and heavy wood containers, and it just wasn't feasible to use this sailboat. It would rock back and forth, and we couldn't sail. Later, Stephanie hired a moving company for transport to get it to Portland, Maine. Stephanie and I worked together to plan and organize and to find a gallery to display the boat. Kelly Lear, Cove Street Art, expressed a very positive response to hosting it.
So here we want to talk about 3 different aspects of the boat, because I'm sure you're interested in this. It's the spiritual worlds, the materials, and then the music. So back to the spiritual world. This boat, it was conceived like a shaman. It has the ability to move between the spiritual and the real worlds. As examples, the dying King Arthur carried on a black boat to Avalon, the Samoan boat of souls that comes softly at dusk. And what Stephanie says is what survives that passage is at the core of all religions. Okay, here's the Boat of Eternal Return. It's 30 feet long, 9 feet high, 28 inches wide. It was built over a 14-year period. It has a whole series of things that are fascinating components and materials when we can talk about their symbology. And we're going to focus on this today because we're going to talk about how it was built. 13 pairs of moose ribs, a black beer, a black ruler, DNA sequencing gels, oversized cello head, a fretboard, a string catcher, 2 bows to actually play the boat, glass bones pegs in the cello head, lap strakes, tulip poplar, mahogany, ebony, guanaco coccyx, this is a llama family, a mare's pelvis, and a spirit level. The music. Stephanie says, I compiled and arranged the music for the Boat of Eternal Return to follow through time and cultures, the song and sounds humanity has made in response to the mystery that is our mortality. Music is the echolocation for the soul. Now I want to just give you an overview of the boat, and we'll go into the details and the various components. But look at how the boat is turned up. It's angled up. This is the bow of the boat, and it's angled up like this with the supports. There are two reasons in my view. One is that you can look, someone coming by to look at the boat can look up and into that part of the hull. The other idea of it is, to me, it's symbolic of a boat tossed about in the ocean waves. So the bow is brought way up and then way down. The supports to the vessel are shown here. They're attached to the keel. The keel runs the length of the boat. These metal supports on both ends are attached to a platform. I built this platform. It's two different panels tied together, bolted together in the middle, and there are 4x8 sheets of plywood on top of 2x4s that are screwed together. There's a special light that you see here that shows the underside of the vessel, which I think it displays it quite nice. One of the interesting things about the boat is there's no signature to the boat, but there is, in fact, an identification of the people that built it. And in one side is a thumbprint that has been enlarged of one of the people, Stephanie, and on the other side, at the same level, is another thumbprint. Both of these have been enlarged and then carved into the wood. What you see on the rest of the hull is strip planking. And this is a very interesting method that's been used for a number of years to build boats. You build them with the use of what's called a strong back. The keel, all the way along the bottom of the boat, is attached to this strong back. It's put up about hand level high, rigidly in place, and then a series of frames at discrete locations are tied to the strong back. Then the wood, the strip planking, is molded over top of that. And of course, these frames are sized so that you get a smooth surface on the outside of the boat. Each one of these little strips has been routed to put a curvature on one side, an upward curvature on one side, and an upward curvature on the next one down, so that they can be, in effect, held together by their geometry. The boat could not be easily transported all in one piece, so it's joined in a section that goes from here forward to the bow, from here out to the stern, and then the cello head, which is this portion back here, is also a separate piece. What I want to talk about next is a very special joint that joins these two sections. And I'm going to have some pictures that depict this better. But it's right here. There's a joint that joins this part of the keel to this part of the keel. And then there are a piece that runs all the way forward to there, and this is screwed to the keel. And it holds it together in alignment so this portion of the hull doesn't twist, and it's straight and connected to the other portion of the hull. On the inside of this boat you can look up all the way in there and see what appears to be bones. That's a female horse's pelvic bone inside it. And of course that symbol symbolizes birth and rebirth. Next is what Stephanie calls the mandorla, or vesica piscis, which is two intersecting circles. And this symbolizes the interface between the spiritual and the physical worlds. It can also symbolically represent femininity or fertility. The spirit level. This, I think, is a little bit of humor on the part of the artist. Because if you think of a level, conducting an act that would level or make the spirits more regulated or more cooperative, maybe this is the device to do it. But in actuality, the spirit level, the spirits refer to mineral spirits that are inside the level to make it usable. One very symbolic object in the boat can be shown right here. If you look all throughout the top of the beer, which is this black device, you see dice intersected with a ruler, and these dice are at random intervals. I love Stephanie's description of the symbology, that for all art, and in fact for all life, this represents chaos cut by order and order cut by chaos. What you see next is moose ribs. The end of the moose ribs, very carefully carved, angled and positioned in place with epoxy in numbered wood blocks. Each one of these is numbered and is located precisely where the artist determined that it was the right place given the ribs' length and angle and structure, so that in effect we're creating a whole set of ribs for a living boat. The black beer. The black beer again has DNA sequencing gels used to determine the genome of a living creature. The symbology of the genome, of course, reflects life, and its scientific definition is wonderful. On top of this plate holding the sequencing gels is the handwritten script of Mozart's Requiem. If you haven't listened to it recently, please do so, because each bar is pure gold. The strings. You've noticed the strings that go the length of the boat. And then there's small bows that could be used to play the strings. And Stephanie is often asked, can I play the boat? And the answer is yes. Moving forward, we see coccyx bone from a guanaco, a llama family animal, and the strings run through it, and that's connected to a piece of ebony that goes and is held in place here on the cello head. The carved cello scroll way at the top is symbolic of heavenly power, harmony, and unending power, such as the waves of an ocean. These are very difficult to carve because of their three-dimensional nature. In the cello head is glass-like bones for string tightening, pegged to provide string tension. Well, we've covered a lot.